Hi, I'm Beau Carnes with freeCodeCamp.org. I'm going to show you how to code a Discord bot with JavaScript that runs completely in the cloud for free. I already made a course about coding a Discord bot with Python, and you can get the link to that up here in the corner or down in the description. We're going to use a few different tools, including the Discord API, a few JavaScript libraries, and a cloud computing platform called Repl.it. You probably already know what Discord is and what a Discord bot is since you are watching this tutorial. But just in case you don't, let me give you a brief overview. Discord is an app used for real-time text chat. Discord servers are set up by people and generally are focused on a certain community. Many groups and organizations have Discord servers for people to chat with each other. A Discord server often has many channels, which are different rooms that you can chat in. A Discord bot is a user in your Discord server that is controlled by a program instead of a person. You can code a Discord bot to make it do whatever you want. There are many things Discord bots are often used for. They can be used to chat, respond to messages, manage servers, play music, and more. You can also use webhooks with a Discord bot to do things like give real-time updates on a GitHub repository. The bot we will create in this course is called EncourageBot. It can tell people inspirational quotes that it gets from an API. Also, when a user says a sad word, the bot will respond with an encouraging phrase. Users can also add or remove encouraging phrases that the bot uses directly from Discord. The first step for creating a Discord bot is to make sure you have a Discord server to add the bot to. You may already have one, but let me just show you how to set one up really quick in case you don't already have one. So you're going to have to go to discord.com and log into Discord, and then you just click the plus button here to add a server. And I'll say for me and my friends, and I'll just call it Robot Family Server. Okay, let's create that. And now we have our server. Okay, so before we can code our bot using Python and using the Discord API, we must first create a Discord bot account right within Discord. So you're going to have to go to the Discord developer portal. I'll put the link in the description, but it's just discord.com/developers/applications. So once you're on the applications page, you're going to click this new applications button. And then we're going to create a name for it. This bot is going to send friendly encouragements to people from in Discord. So I'm going to call it EncourageBot. Okay, we'll create that. Okay, now I'm going to go to the bot tab here. And then I am going to click Add Bot. And say, yes, do it. Okay, we'll keep the default settings as a public bot, and then we won't require the OAuth 2 grant, the code grant. So now the bot has been created. The next step is to copy the bot token. Okay, so I'll just click copy to copy the token. We're going to need that later. Now this token is your bot's password, so make sure not to share it with anybody. It could allow someone to log into your bot and do all sorts of bad things, and it could even allow someone to mess with your server. And also, you can obviously regenerate the token if it accidentally gets shared. So now we have to invite the bot to our server. We have the bot user, and we have to get it into our server. To do that, we're going to have to create an invite URL for it. So let's go to the OAuth 2 tab here. And now we're just going to go to the scope section. Since this is a bot, we'll just click bot here. Now we have to scroll down a little bit more and go to the bot permissions section. So we'll choose the permissions we want for the bot. Our bot is going to be mainly used for text messages, so we don't need a lot of permissions. So your bot may do different things, but let's just choose some of these here. Actually, we'll do all of them on this line except send TTS messages. Now, you do need to be careful with this administrator permissions. If you give your bot administrator permissions, it will be able to control your server in ways that you may not actually want. And then I guess the last one we need to add is the view channels. Our bot's going to have to view the channels. So after selecting the appropriate permissions, we'll click the copy button right here. And this will copy a URL that can be used to add the bot to a server. And I guess we'll also have to recopy the bot key. We copied the bot key earlier, but now it's been recopied with this URL. So we'll have to come back later to get the bot key. But now let's just open up a new tab, and I'm going to go to this URL. Okay, so now we have to choose the server we want to add the bot to. I'll choose Robot Family Server, the only option. But you will probably have more options. So we'll click Continue. And we want to approve that we want to do all these things. We want to authorize the bot for all these things. And I'm not a robot. And the bot is authorized. That means the bot has joined the server. So if we actually go over into our server, we can see Encourage Bot just slid into the server. But also you see over here that the bot is offline. It's not going to be online till we write our code that creates the bot and run the code. And speaking of code, it's time to start that. Now, I said earlier that you don't have to install anything. You don't have to use any software except your web browser. We are going to be creating the entire Discord bot right in the cloud on Repl.it. The website for Repl.it is Repl.it. And Repl.it is an online IDE that you can just use in your web browser. So it makes it a lot easier to code things if you don't have to install any special software on your computer. And then you can log into it from multiple browsers, multiple computers, and then you can easily access your code and your programs no matter what computer you're using. So we're going to make our bot on this, and then it will also be completely hosted in the cloud. We can even run the bot on this website, so we don't have to run it on our local computer. And that will make it so we can keep the bot running even if our computer shuts down or we close the browser tab or anything like that. I'll show you how to make the bot so it'll keep running in the background continuously, and then you don't have to worry about it. If you don't already have an account, you're going to sign up, but I'm going to log in here. I'm going to show you how to use Repl.it to create the bot from scratch. But just in case you click the link in the description to the completed bot, you're going to want to click fork here, and you don't really want to start editing. You probably want to fork it and then create your own copy and then start editing instead of trying to request to edit my copy. Okay, this is Repl.it. So let me show you how to start a new project. We're just going to click on new REPL here, and then we're going to be using Node.js. So I'll click on Node.js, and then if we want, we can name it, or you can use the default name. I'm going to call it Encourage Bot.js, and then create REPL. We're going to be using the Discord.js node library to write the code for the bot. Discord.js is an API wrapper for Discord that makes it easier to create a Discord bot in Node.js or JavaScript. Okay, we're in our project. You can see that we have our files here, we have our code that we're going to write here, and then we have a console over on the side. And then there's some different tabs. We are only going to be mainly using the Files tab here, but we'll also be using the Database tab later. But for now, let's get started. So, first we're going to add the Discord.js library. So I'll add const Discord equals require Discord.js. Now Repl.it will automatically install this dependency when you press the run button. So that's one cool thing about Repl.it is that the dependencies are installed automatically. And if you ever have a problem, you can always go into the shell and you can install anything manually in the shell. But let's go back over to the console. Discord.js revolves around the concept of events. An event is something you listen to and then respond to. For example, when a message happened, you will receive an event about it that you can respond to. We're going to start by making a very simple bot. This is a bot that's going to respond to messages. This is taken directly from the Discord.js documentation. So we'll start by making a very simple one, and then we'll continue to add to it and make it more complex and make it work for our purposes. So after this first line, we need to get a client. Const client equals new Discord dot client. So this is our Discord client that we'll be working with to connect to our Discord server. This is the client for the Discord.js library. Okay, I talked about different events. So our client is going to respond to different types of events. One event is the ready event. A ready event means that the bot has successfully connected to our Discord server and is ready to do more things. So let's add code now to respond to the ready event. So you start with client.on. So on what? On what event? Well, the event is going to be ready. So on the ready event, once it's ready to start working, once it's connected to our server, it's going to call this callback function. So let's make this callback function here. And we're just going to console.log something. Console.log logged in as, and then we're going to get the client name or the username, the name of the bot, client.user.tag. Okay, now we're going to respond to a different event. The event is a message. So whenever the bot sees a message in the Discord server, it will get the message event and it will do something whenever there's a message. So client.on message, and then it will call this callback function. We'll get access to the message through this parameter here. And we're going to check to see what the message actually is. Message.content is the text of the message. So we're going to check for this example if the message is the word ping. And if so, then we'll do something. So we're going to reply. Message.reply pong. So it will, our bot will actually reply with another message in the chat, and the message will be pong. Okay, now that we have our event set up, the ready event and the message event, we need to have our client log into the server. So to log into the server, we'll do client.login. Now here, we need to put our token. But we're not going to actually, you could put your token as a string here. Remember, the token is the thing when we created the bot on the developer page, we copied the token, and if you don't have that anymore, you can go back to the developer page and copy the token again. You could put the token as a string right here, but we're not going to do that. And the reason is because anything on Repl.it can be accessed by anyone on the internet. So we don't want anybody to be able to have access to our token. That's like a password for our bot, and then anybody could actually use our bot to do anything that they wanted. We don't want that. So we need to we need a way to keep our token a secret. And the way we're going to do that is with an environment variable. Repl.it has a special way of doing that. We are going to create our environment variable in just a second. Let's access it right now, and then we'll create it. So to access a environment variable, we do process.env and then the name of the environment variable, which in this case is going to be token. So now we have to find a place to put this. So this is how it works in Repl.it. We're going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it .env. Anything in a .env file is hidden from the rest of the world. And you can see we already have it here. So we have the word token. You're going to have to put the word token and then an equal sign, and then you paste in your token that you got for your bot. So in this case, this is my token. And now that we have our token stored in our environmental variable, it can get the token. And the .env file, like I said, it cannot be accessed by, nobody can see it except you. Any other file, everyone can see, but the .env, only you can see it. And that's how we can get that token that nobody else can see. I guess all of you just saw it because I just showed it on my screen, but usually you're not going to be making a video, so nobody will actually see the actual environment variable. So it's time. I'm going to run this program. Okay, it says we're logged in, so that worked. Maybe you may have had a problem if somehow it didn't automatically install discord.js. In that case, like I said, you can install it in the shell, but everything worked for me. And I am going to go over to my Discord server right now and see what it looks like. Okay, it shows that EncourageBot is logged in. So I'm going to do a chat. I'm going to type in ping pong and see, since it's a reply, it says my name because EncourageBot is replying to me and saying pong. So it worked. We have a bot and it works. Now that we have a basic bot working, we'll improve it. It's called EncourageBot for a reason. The bot will respond with a message of encouragement whenever someone sends a message containing a sad or depressing word. Anyone will be able to add encouraging messages for the bot to use, and the user-submitted messages will be stored in the Repl.it database. The bot will also return a random inspirational quote from an API when someone types the message inspire into the chat. We'll start with adding the inspire feature. We're going to get inspirational quotes from an API called zenquotes.io. Now it could actually work with any API. You can use any API, and just any API that's going to return JSON or any sort of string you can use, and then you can get that information, and then you can actually return the string as a message with your bot. But I just found this zenquotes.io as an easy way to get a quote, an encouraging or motivating quote that we can return with our bot. So, since we are going to be calling this API, we're going to need to import the node fetch module. So up here, I am going to do const fetch equals require node fetch. So we'll be able to use that to call the API. And now let's make a function called getQuote that will be able to be called to get a quote from the API. So function getQuote. And inside this function, we are going to return the quote. And inside this function, we are going to fetch the quote. And actually, we're going to return it. So return, and then I will do my fetch command. Fetch, and then here is where we put the URL. https://zenquotes.io/API. Let's make more room here so you can see everything that I'm typing in. And it's going to be /random. Okay, after we fetch that information, do .then. This is an asynchronous call. So first it gets the information. It may not get it right away, but it's going to wait till it gets the information from this URL. Then it's going to do something with that data. So let's put the callback function that it will call after it gets that data. We are going to return the result, but we're going to convert it to JSON. And then we are going to do something else with that data, that JSON, that data that's returned. We're going to format it in the exact way we want it to be formatted. So we have the data, and let me just type in this. Okay, to figure out exactly what I want to return here and how to format this, I had to use trial and error. So I got the information from this URL and I converted to JSON, and then I figured out that the Q is quote and the A is the author. So this is going to put the quote here, and then it's going to be, there'll be a dash, and then it'll be the author. You'll see exactly what it looks like when we test this out. But so this is going to return a random inspirational quote, and to get the information into the format I wanted, it's going to look like that. And so it's going to return the quote when someone calls this function. So let's update our message event here so it will return a quote at the right time. We're going to add something where first we're going to add a new thing. We're going to check to see if the message is from the bot. If the bot ever says anything, we don't want the bot to respond to itself. So if message.author.bot, that means if the bot is the author of the message, just return. So we're not going to do anything in that case. But if message.content equals, well, it's not going to be equal in ping anymore. We're looking for the word inspire. So if it senses that there's a message that's inspire, then we're going to do the get quote function. Get quote dot then. So you see we're returning what's the result of this fetch. And so this is also a promise that we can then, this is an async call. So once we get the result, then we're going to do something. Then we are going to take the quote and we'll do message.channel.send. So this is going to send a message to the whole channel. And the message is going to be the quote. Okay, let's try this out. First I'll stop it because it was already running before, but we have to start it again for the new code. Then I'll wait till it shows that it's logged in here. Oh, see, it's installing the node.fetch module now. Okay, we're logged in. Okay, now I will type $inspire. They say love is the best investment. The more you give, the more you get in return. Audrey Hepburn. Wow, I feel very inspired now. And just so you know, it doesn't respond like that to anything. If I say hello, it doesn't have a response. It only responds if it sees $inspire. Now we will implement the feature where the bot responds with encouraging messages when a user posts a message with a sad word. So first we need to create an array that contains the sad words that the bot will respond to. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to create an array. It's going to be called sad words, and then I'll just have a list of sad words. Now you can use any list you want and any sad words, but I'll do sad, depressed, unhappy, angry, and we'll just do those. But you can add more to this list if you want. Now we'll add an array of encouraging messages that the bot will respond with. So let's add another array called encouragements. Const encouragements. Cheer up. Hang in there. You are a great person or bot. And like before, feel free to add any phrases you want or just change them up. I'm just using these 3 items for now because later we'll add the ability for users to add more encouraging phrases for the bot to use. So now we need to update our bot to use the 2 lists we created. So let's go down to the message function. We're going to add another section here. And we're going to add a section that's going to check to see if the message contains a word from the sad words list. And then if a sad word is found, the bot will send a random message of encouragement. So let's add that. This time I just pasted in some code and we're going to go over it. So this is how we're going to check if the message contains a word in the sad words list. So we start with sadwords.sum. This is an array method, and let me show you what it's going to do. We're going to go through each item in the array, or in this case a word, and then we're going to check if message.content.includes, if the message includes the word. And we're going to do that for every word in the list. And this sadwords.sum is going to return true if one or more of these things are true. And so if at least one of those words in the list is in the message, it's going to be true. So then it's going to run the code here. So first we're going to get a single encouragement. So the encouragements list, we have the encouragements list, and then we want a random element. So this is how we get a random element. Math.floor rounds down, math.random times encouragements.length. So this is just a way to get a random index number for the encouragements array, and then we're going to get that random encouragement and then message.reply encouragement. So it's going to return that encouragement. Okay, let's stop this and then we're going to restart it. Okay, we can test it. I am sad. It says, Beau Carnes, hang in there. That's very encouraging. Thank you, EncourageBot. I am happy now. And it doesn't respond at all because now that I'm happy, it doesn't need to respond. But now I'm feeling depressed. Cheer up. Oh, that makes me feel a lot better. And you can see it's getting random phrases. Hang in there, cheer up. It includes my name here because it's a reply. If we go back to our code, you can see that it's a message.reply. Anytime it's a reply, it's going to include the name, the person who said the message, and then the new message, which is the encouragement. Okay, you basically know enough to make your own bot. And you can go to the discord.js documentation to find out even more features you can do with your Discord bot. But now we're going to learn right now how to implement more advanced features with this bot and store data using the Repl.it database. So let's make it possible to update the bot right from Discord. A user should be able to add more encouraging messages for the bot to use when it detects a sad word. We're going to be using Repl.it's built-in database to store user-submitted messages. The database is a key value store that's built into every Repl.it. So if you click right here where it says database, it's going to show you all of these database commands you can use. So you're going to have to import the database at the top. You can create a new database. We're actually going to import some of these commands right now. So if we just go up to the top here, and then right under my other require, I'm going to click insert here, and it's just going to put this code right in here. Const database equals require, and then it's going to get this database library. Okay, now we have to create a new database. So we'll separate these require statements from these other new statements here. So I'm going to create a new database. And when we run the code, this will automatically install. And if it doesn't, or if you're doing it on your local machine, you can just go over to the shell and do npm install and then use this for the name here. So what we're going to do down here after the encouragements, we're going to initialize the database with these three encouragements. We're going to just add those to the database if they're not already in the database. So this is how we're going to do that. db.get encouragements. So we're going to get the encouragements that are already in the database. Well, if this is the first time this program runs, there won't be any in there. But if the program has run previously and there's already encouragements in the database, then it'll get the list of encouragements that are in the database. So this was the key, and we're this key value pairs. So this is the key, and then we're going to get the value, which to start off with would be null. But after we get the encouragements, then we're going to take those encouragements, and then we're going to do this. I'm going to put this function here. We're going to check if there are no encouragements. If there are no encouragements, or if the encouragements.length is less than 1, so if there's 0 encouragements, then we're going to add the encouragements. So there will always be at least something to encourage people with. So, and by the way, the reason why we have both of these is because the first time this runs, encouragements will be null. But later, encouragements could be 0. So in either case, we want to do db.set. We're going to set the encouragements key. We're going to set this to be the encouragements. Well, we want to set to be these encouragements, but we're already using this variable here, and we're going to use encouragements later. So this is let's just change this to be called starter encouragements. So this is now the starter encouragements, and we're going to set these encouragements to be the starter encouragements. Users will be able to add custom encouraging messages for the bot to use directly from the Discord chat. Before we add new commands for the bot, let's create two helper functions that will add custom messages to the database and delete the messages. So right after this, we're going to create a helper function update encouragements, and it's going to take one argument, an encouraging message. And so first we're going to get the list of current encouraging messages, db.get encouragements. And then after we get those encouragements, then we're going to take those encouragements, and in this function, we're going to do something with them. So we're going to do encouragements.push. We're going to push the new message onto this list, onto this array. Encouraging message. Now, we're going to do db.set. We're going to add this to the database with the new encouraging message on it. So encouragements, that's the key, and the new value for that key is going to be encouragements. Okay, now we have to make another function to delete the encouragements. So function delete encouragement, and this is going to take an index, the index in the array that needs to be deleted. So first we're going to get, it's actually going to be somewhat similar. So I'm going to just copy this, then paste this in. But we are not going to be pushing any new thing here. So what we're going to do instead is if encouragement.length is greater than the index, we're only going to delete something if the index is actually an appropriate index. So if the length is greater than the index, then then the index will actually apply to this array. What we're going to do is encouragements.splice. This is how you remove an item from an array. Index 1. So at the index, we're going to remove one item. And then we're going to just move this up. I'm going to cut this and put it here. So now we're going to set the encouragements again to be this new encouragements array that has the encouragements removed that we want to remove. Okay, let's update this section now. So now we have to make sure that we are using our list from the database when we return a message when there's a sad word detected. So let's add something here. We are going to have to get the messages from the database. So db.get encouragements then encouragement and now all this code, I'm just going to cut that and then put it in here. And this actually should be encouragements. Okay, now let's make it so our bot will respond to 2 new commands. So if message.content.starts with, so if the content starts with $new, then we are going to do something. So first we have to figure out what the new message is. So the person will be typing $new space, and then they'll put their new message that should be added to the list of encouragements. So the encouraging message is going to equal message.content.split new 1. So this is the message, and .split is a JavaScript string method, and we're going to split at this. And make sure there's a space at the end, because the person is going to type in $new space, and then we want anything after that to be the new message. So index 1 in the array, because this is going to create an array, and index 1 will be anything after this. So we'll get the encouraging message, and then update encouragements with the encouraging message. And then after we do that, we can send a message to the whole channel. Message.channel.send. So our bot is about to send this message. New encouraging there we go. Message added. Oh, we need to see right here. Encouraging. There we go. New encouraging message added. Okay, now we have to do the same thing with delete. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing because it will be kind of similar, and then paste it here. Now we're looking to see if the message the user types in starts with del for delete. And we're splitting it at del. And this is now going to be the index. The person is going to type in $del space, and they're going to put a number. And the number is going to be the index of the array that should be deleted. Since it's a number, we should do parse int to convert this from a string to an int. So parse int, and then I'm going to put this in parentheses. So parse int, and instead of update encouragements, we're going to be doing delete encouragement, and then I can put the index here, and then message.channel.send new encouraging message deleted. Okay, we can test this out here. So I'll run the program, and we're logged in. I am sad. Hang in there. That's really encouraging. Well, let's become even more encouraging, because I'm going to add a new message. You are a great person and also a great singer. That would make me feel encouraged. Okay, how about nice avatar? And how about that was a wonderful message. Okay, now I'm going to see if it will use one of those new messages we added. So, I am sad. That was a wonderful message. I am depressed. I guess that was a wonderful message isn't that encouraging if I'm saying that I'm sad, but you are a great person and also a great singer. Now let's see if we can delete one of these. So let's delete, I'll do del, and I'll put index 0. And let me just delete a few of them. Now we should have deleted all 3 of the initial messages. So if, sad. Let's see if we see any of the initial messages. We're not seeing any, we're only seeing the new ones because all the initial ones were deleted. Okay, now we're going to add the ability to get a list of user submitted messages right from Discord, and we will add the ability to turn off and on whether the bot responds to sad words. So to change whether it responds or not, we're going to add a new variable or a new key value pair to the database. So let me scroll up a little bit. And right before this, where we initialize the encouragements key value pair, let's do the same thing with another one. db.get responding. So this is a variable called responding, or it's a key value pair. So as we're trying to figure out if the bot should be responding or not. Then value, we'll get whatever the initial value is. And so let's check if it exists yet. If value equals null, that means that this is the first time the program has run, so it's not in the database yet. Then let's set it to something. Set it to responding is going to equal or be set to true. Now this will only happen if the value equals null. So if you run the program and you set this to false, the next time the program runs, it won't then be set to true. It will still be saved in the database, even if you stop and restart the program. Okay, so the whole point of that was to change whether it responds to the sad words or not. So let's add something else here. db.get responding. And we're trying to see if the bot should be responding or not. Then responding. Now we're going to take this whole thing here, and it's going to be inside this other section. And let me indent this. So now we're going to check if responding is true and this is true. Or it should be responding. There we go. So now we're checking for two things to be true before it sends the encouraging message. Okay, let's go down and we're going to add two more commands. One of them will be to list all the encouraging messages, and the other command will be to change the responding status to either true or false, on or off. So if message.content.starts with, if it starts with list, then we're going to list all the messages. So first we have to get the messages. db.get encouragements then encouragement, and then actually this will be called encouragements message.channel.send encouragements. So we'll send all the encouragements to the channel as a message. Okay, so for the next one, let me just copy this first line here. If message.content.starts with, and this time it's going to be responding, so that means we're changing the command is to change whether the bot is going to respond or not. So let's get the value first. Value equals message.content.split responding with a space at the end 1. This is just like before. And the value is either going to be true or false. So if value dot to lowercase equals true, then db dot set responding to true. Also, message dot channel dot send responding is on. Else, so if it's anything but true, we'll assume it's false. So let me just copy this here. Else, set responding to false, and the message will be responding is off. The code for the bot is complete. We're going to test it out one more time, and then I will show you how to make the bot, how to set up the bot to run continuously. We'll run the program, and it's logged in. Okay, let's just try to do a list. And let's see if I can add something to the list. And I'll do the list again. And it adds the item. I added the item yes, and now it's on the list. Now it's even easier to delete things. So I'm going to delete that was a wonderful message because we don't want to respond with that if someone says a sad message. So I will do del, that's the index 2, and then I will do list. And oh, you know, this is wrong. New encouraging message deleted. That doesn't even make sense. This should just be encouraging message deleted. I don't know why I didn't notice that before. So let's update that to encouraging. That shouldn't be new. There we go. Looks like I have a few spelling errors here. Okay, so responding. And then down here, we have responding. I don't know why I can't spell this. Okay, let's play that again, and hopefully we don't have any errors. Or run that again. I keep saying play because it looks like a play button. And now I will list. And it's gone. It doesn't say that was a wonderful message anymore. Sad. Oh, I didn't mean to put, I shouldn't put the $sign, but it should still respond because it has the word sad. Oh, but it's not, there's no space before it. So let's just, oh, it is responding. Nice avatar. Said, you are a great person and also a great singer. Now let's see if we can turn it off and on. So, responding false. Or, yeah, false. Responding is off. So if I type in sad, it doesn't respond. Now I can turn it back on. Responding true. Responding is on. So if I type in depressed, you are a great person and also a great singer. It works. We've created the bot, we've tested it, everything works. Okay, so our bot is done, but there's one more thing I want to show you, which is how to make the bot run continuously. As it is, if you ever close your tab, so if you run this bot right now, if I run this bot and I ever close my tab or close my browser, it will stop running. But we want to make it so it'll just run in the background so you don't even have to have your computer on for the Discord bot to be running. So there's two ways to do it. One way is just to click right up here, and you can see it says this REPL can be kept always on. And there normally would be just an on button here to keep it on, so it'll just keep running in the background even if you close things. However, you do have to upgrade. So you do have to upgrade to the paid plan to have this built-in way to keep the REPL always on. So here's the pricing for the hacker plan that REPL offers. You get 5 REPLs that are always on if you get it. And you also get a bunch of storage, extra memory, more speed, and soon you'll even get offline REPLs. And $7 a month is pretty reasonable. It's just like you would pay for any hosting. Repl.it made this course possible through a grant. And they're also offering 3 months free of this hacker plan to the first 1,000 people that click the link in the description with the coupon code. But like I said, there's also a way to get your Repl.it to be always on for free without even signing up for this. And I'm going to show you that right now. If you run your bot in Repl.it and then close the tab it's running in, your bot will just stop running. However, there is a workaround. So the workaround, without having to pay anything, is that Repl.it will continue running a web server even after the tab is closed. But even a web server will only run for up to an hour without any use. So to keep the bot running continuously, we'll use another free service called Uptime Robot. That's at uptimerobot.com. It can be set up to ping the bot's web server on Repl.it every 5 minutes. And then with constant pings, the bot will never enter the sleeping stage and will just keep running. So we have to do 2 things. We have to create the web server in Repl.it and set up Uptime Robot to continually ping the web server. So let me show you how we're going to create the web server. First of all, I'm going to create a new file and just click Add File, and this is going to be called server.js. Okay, and now we're going to be using Express to create the web server. Okay, so we'll do const express equals require express. And then we have to create the server. So const server equals express. Now that we have the server, we need to create a route. And the route is a thing that's going to be pinged from Uptime Robot. So here we go. Server.all. So this creates a new route at just / like just at your root domain, and it's going to respond to all HTTP requests. That's what this all is. So like get, put, post, and it's just going to say, it's going to send back bot is running. So now that we have the server ready, we have to create a function that starts the server. So function, and we're just going to be calling it keep alive because it's going to keep alive our Repl.it instance. Server.listen. We're going to listen at port 3000. And then we're just going to log something. Whoops, it should be equal sign. Console.log server is ready. So when this keep alive function is run, the server is going to start listening at port 3000, and it's going to log server is ready. And now we just have to export this so we can import it and run it from our bot file. So module.exports equals keep alive. Okay, now let's make sure that when our bot runs, it automatically runs this server. So let me go into our index.js, and then at the very top here, const keep alive and require, and then we're just going to require the server that we just created, server. And then down here, right before our client logs in, keep alive. So we'll start our server. We'll start that server function. Okay, now let's run this and see if the server starts. Actually we need to make keep alive, not keep aliver. So let's try that again. And we can tell that the server started because it opened up a new window here and it says bot is running. So I'm going to copy, there's a link right here, which I'm going to select and copy. This is our server link that we're going to have to put into Uptime Robot. So let's go set this up on Uptime Robot to ping our server every 5 minutes. Okay, I'm at uptimerobot.com, and you're either going to have to register or log in. Then once you get logged in, you'll see this dashboard, and there's this add new monitor here. So I'm going to click that. And monitor type, this is going to be an HTTPS monitor. And I can just call this encourage bot. And then I'll just paste in the URL that I copied from our Repl.it. And then it's on every 5 minutes. And then, if I want it, I can select myself to notify if you want to be notified when something goes wrong. But, you know, I'm not going to notify myself. So I'm just going to do create monitor. And it's created. Now, our bot will continue running after I close the tab or close the window. Even if my computer is turned off, the Discord bot will still just keep running. We're done. We learned how to create a Discord bot. We learned how to make it continually run. And now you know enough to start customizing this and creating your own bot. I would recommend checking out the discord.js documentation to learn even more commands you can add. Okay, you've reached the end. Go and create your own bots. But remember, use your code for good.